Hello, I'm Professor Susan DeGise. This tutorial is on Practice 7.2c. Directions. Identify all triplets and write how many beats or how much of a beat each triplet is worth. Remember that for published scores, the number 3 can be left out for triplets. I'm going to go ahead and do number 1. You're welcome to follow along, but if you feel comfortable, go ahead and do all 3 on your own. Pause the video and press play when you're ready. All right, so I noticed that the time signature is in common time. So this is a simple quadruple meter. There are 4 quarter notes per measure. So the first measure, measure 20, doesn't have any triplets. Measure 21 has triplets. So we have 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. Is this a triplet? The directions say that the number 3 can be left out, but is that a triplet? No, it's not a triplet. So it might be a little tricky because there's 3 notes that are beamed together, but that's because these 4 actually go together. And because they're in different clefs, they're written this way. So you can't just assume when you see these 3 beamed together that this is a triplet. In this case, these 4 are a unit together. Now we go back to groups of 4 and groups of 2. So there's only 3 triplets in this example. So now we need to figure out how much the triplet is worth. So if a quarter note is equal to 1, then 2 eighth notes are the division, meaning that 3 eighth notes as a triplet is also equal to 1. So 3 16th notes would be equal to half of that. So each one of these is going to be worth half. Okay, so that means actually this group of 4 is also worth half a beat. So that makes beat 1 here, and then beat 2 here. Then we have beat 3 here, and beat 4 here. All right, we don't need all this other info. We just need to show the triplets and how much they're worth, so that would be your final answer. Let's go ahead and listen to this example. All right, that was pretty cool. Just because we have these triplet 16th notes, then we have these 32nd notes, and then we have 4 16th notes. So the groups are just a little different. It's so much more interesting than having, say, 4 16th notes, 4 16th notes, 4 16th notes, 4 16th notes. All right, why don't you go ahead and try numbers 2 and 3 on your own. Pause the video and press play when you're ready. Okay, number 2. We're in 3/4, which is simple triple. A quarter note equals 1 beat. So do we have any triplets in measure 27? No. What about measure 28? Yes, there's a triplet here. Measure 29? Yes, there's a triplet here. And measure 30? No, no triplets. Okay, so if we're in 3/4, that means a quarter note is equal to a beat. The division is 2 eighth notes, meaning that's the same as eighth note triplets. So eighth note triplets would equal 1 beat, which we have here. 16th notes are twice as fast as eighth notes, so this would be worth half the value of that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and listen to the 2 different triplets in this example. They sound very different, right? The first one was pretty fast, and then the second one was much slower. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Okay, number 3 is in 6/8, which is compound duple. This time, a dotted quarter note is worth 1 beat. Now, If we use a dotted quarter note as the beat, we know that divides equally into 3 eighth notes. Each of these eighth notes, they're not dotted. So we could actually use borrowed division here, right? So even though normally each of these are divided into 2, like this, we can substitute one of these with 3 16th notes and add the number 3. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Is this a triplet? No, it's not. Okay, so how do we know it's not a triplet? Because we're in 6/8, and this is just going to be the subdivision. So maybe it would help if I put the counts in. So this is 1, this is la, and this is li. And this here is falling on ta, li, ta. So we have 1 ta, li, ta, 1 ta, li, ta. And then we have the same thing here in measure 63, 1 ta, li, ta. Now what's going on in the next measure? We have 3 16th notes here as well, but notice they're not beamed to these eighth notes. And notice how these 3 16th notes fall within 1 eighth note. So remember, an eighth note is usually divided into 2 16ths, but here it's divided into 3 16ths. So it doesn't say the number 3 because this is a published score, but musicians should know that this is actually a triplet. Whoops, why did I write 3 there? So there usually would be a 3 here, but the 3 is not always written. So this is a triplet, and this is a triplet, and that's it. Are these triplets? No, those are just merely divisions of the dotted quarter. So let's figure out how much this is worth. Well, we can use this picture to help. When we have a dotted note, the division is divided into 3, and each one of these is worth 1/3. So that means 2 16th notes is worth 1/3, but that would also mean 3 16th note triplets is worth 1/3. So this would be worth 1/3, and this would be worth 1/3. So we have 1/3 here, 2/3, 3/3, and this makes up 1 beat. Okay, let's go ahead and listen to this example. Did you hear how different the 3 16th notes in measures 62 and 63 sounded? We had this. And then in measure 64 with the triplets, much faster, right? All right. If you have any questions on triplets, please reread section 7.2. You've now completed the tutorial for practice 7.2C. Thank you for watching.